we doing? Soaks and folks alike, welcome to another episode of How You Been with Brett the Mott. I, of course, am, say it with me, your fearless leader, Brett the Mott, the man of the hour, the man of every hour. That's me, folks. There ain't an hour that goes by that ain't a DeMott hour. And I'm telling you this, I am very, very excited for the show today, folks, because I got one of the people, my guest today is from about as far back as you can go without being family. And that is my old babysitter, Krystal Lassen. Very excited for everybody to meet Krystal, an important person who had an effect on me at a very formative age. Oh, did I just I think I hit a button. Did I fuck something up? I don't know. So I'm very, very excited for you all to meet Krystal. She's great. She'll be on a little bit later. But folks, a lot to update you on from the past week. As you all know, Brett the Mott, The Stuff Is Here, is an ongoing art installation in my backyard. We are currently on pause because, folks, the stuff is gone. So I'm taking a little break. The exhibit is down for rejuvenation for the next week or so, and then we'll be opening back up for public viewings. Maybe April. We'll be coming up on April. Folks, I made so much money off of this. I told you last week. Hand over fist. This whole time I'm thinking the way to do good, the way to give myself purpose is charity, is to do things for no financial gain, just for the good of everybody, you know? Stuff for students, that's what it's born from. It's from an altruistic approach to life. But what I realized is money. That's right, folks. I realized money. It's good. You know, I grew up with it a little bit. Had a little dry spell for a little while. And then, now that I got a little bit more money, more cashola coming through, I'm feeling good again. Feeling real good. And so maybe this is my calling, folks. Maybe I am an artist. I've always known that I had an artistic finger. Is that what they call it? You got a green thumb if you're into gardening. If you're an artist, do you have an artistic finger? Is it artistic finger, or is it artistic eye? I think artistic eye is the one that most people are talking about. But I, Brett the Mott, don't do what other people do. So I'm going to say I got an artistic finger, and we're going to keep on tapping the button and taking money out of the art TM. Get it? The art TM, folks. The art teller machine. Very excited to get the exhibit back up. The next couple weeks, I'm going out trying to replenish the supply. So if anybody's got any leads on any good stuff, send me an email, howyoubenshow@gmail.com. Let me know where and what. I got to know what size van. I got to know if Big Van can come and take away all your stuff. So let me know how much stuff you got, what you got. I might swing by and take it from you to replenish the supply. But in other news, of course, my documentary on my art exhibit, obviously, is still happening. No evidence to show for at this point, but very soon we will have something to show. But the biggest of the news is my court appearance happened in the Coyoteman versus Jaywalkers court case. And as you all know, I asked for volunteer sketch artists to come to court and just take a couple swings at drawing some moments. And it looks like we had 2 people show up and draw some pictures. And so I just want to show you guys kind of what's going on. I have not looked at these yet, which actually very quickly I'm going to look at them and then decide if they're suitable to be shown in public. So we'll look at this first one. Okay, that one I can talk about, yeah. Because some pretty risque stuff happened in the court, folks. I don't know what people decided to draw. So both of these, I can definitely show these on stream. Let's give it a go. So this first one looks like it came from a sketch artist named Kyle. Let me see. How do I get this on the screen? I think I set it up right. Hang on 1 second. Let me see. Yes. Okay. Here we go. So here we go. This, you can see, is the first of the sketch from the courtroom drawings. I have obviously I put on my good shirt, which to you it may look like flowers, but it is actually over easy eggs. It is an egg shirt that I wore to court. A few details that you will notice. I'm wearing headphones because, folks, little do you know, I don't talk about it much on stream, but I do not like the shape of my ears. I covered them up in public as often as possible. And also, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this live, but this judge's voice is just disgusting. He's got this really thick, vague Pennsylvania thing going on. It kind of sounds like he's projecting it from his sort of mid-throat, like a little bit of rasp. It's the kind of voice that you would hear and you'd say, wow, I think that probably makes his throat hurt. And no, it isn't anything like mine. But I know what I described sounds a lot like what people describe my voice like, but it's different. It's annoying. My voice is good, is engaging, is gripping. This guy's voice sucks. Mine is good. And so this is actually from a moment in the trial, which I thought it was pretty messed up. The prosecution really latched on to the whole Coyoteman thing. They said, "Oh, you think you're a superhero? You think you're a part of a coyote? Well, why don't you eat this bone?" And I looked at my lawyer and I was like, "Can they do this? This feels humiliating." My lawyer said, "I don't know. I'm cheap. I don't have an actual law degree." And I was like, "What?" So I just did it, figuring there ain't gonna be anything that they can do. They're not gonna be able to prove that I'm insane, if that's what they're going for. Who even knows what they're going for? So I put the bone in my mouth, whatever. And then I started to get the impression that the jury was sort of turning on me. So I'm always prepared to not a bribe. I almost said bribe. It wasn't a bribe. This was just a look at how nice I am. So I pulled out a bouquet of flowers and I just held them. I was sitting there, I was holding them. I was like, "Hey, I'm this kind of guy. I'm not a bad, crazy man. I'm just a guy who likes flowers. I'm just a guy who likes flowers." And all the juries just like, oh. So I don't think it worked. This was day one. This was day one at the trial. which was, upsetting. And then I've got one more image from day 2 from another sketch artist. And this is from the 18th. As you can see, it's dated, thankfully. The other one was from the 17th. This is from the 18th. And this one, I'm impressed with. Because this, it doesn't look it, but this is hand-drawn. This sketch artist came in with a pen, and then he gets the outlines drawn, and then I look over, and he's got oil paint. And I'm like, okay, buddy. And then he starts going to town on my lawyer, obviously here. My lawyer, by the way, Pete Davidson. My lawyer is Pete Davidson. He was the cheapest one that I could get. And this, again, it's this prosecution. It's character assassination here. They go and they pull trash out of the trash can and they throw it on the floor and they light it on fire. And I think what they're trying to do is sort of connect me to my art, to my stuff, to my backyard, paint me as this lunatic, saying that I'm the kind of guy who does these sort of trash fires, which, as we all know, I do not burn my stuff. I do not, and I never would. But it was a whole day of this stuff. A whole 2 days of this stuff. So I'm sitting there, obviously, I let a tear go. I'm not scared to cry. I did let a tear go. And then my lawyer audibly said, as your lawyer, we're screwed. Which, again, feels like you're not doing what I'm paying you to do. Seems like he lost steam. He lost interest. He gave up on me, which I ain't a stranger to. We all know I've been given up on a few times in my life, so I ain't gonna let this hurt me. The judge said this was all a lot to take in, so he sent us to recess for a week. So we've got another court date coming up this week. If anyone would like to come and do another sketch artist, be a sketch artist, please do. And you can send your sketches to, let's find it. There it is. It's kind of hard to read because this is in the way. Let's move this. Send your sketches to howyoubeen@gmail.com, and I will show them on the stream, assuming there's no butts, boobs, balls, peckers, or any of that stuff. That's right, folks. I say pecker. That's the word I choose to use for penis. Oh, real quick, we'll do a quick question from the mailbag. One of these is labeled birthday request urgent. Comes from Hank. It says, your producer John turned 56 on Sunday. Did he? And I think you should play and sing the entirety of Outside by Stained. Hank, quote, the typo maker, Arby hot dog. Well, I'll tell you this is quite an idea. This is quite an idea. But the unfortunate truth is that song is in a very specific tuning. And I do not currently have my guitar tuned to that tuning. So, the compromise that I will make, instead of sitting here and tuning it, if you'd like to hear me play Outside by Stained in its entirety, with all the words, if you tune in next week, I'll play it as a retroactive celebration of my producer John's birthday, which was Sunday. So how about that? All right, one more quick question. This one comes from Serge. Let me see. Hiya, Brett. How you been? Serge from Northern Ontario here. This week, I'll be starting a new job at a small-town hardware store. Hey! I'll be turning 40 soon and have spent most of that time working in customer service and call centers. I figured you'd be the man to ask for any tips and pointers to help this fish out of water. Thanks. Love the show. P.S. Are you doing any fasting leading up to your Coyoteman escapades in order to gain more power? And if so, for how long? I gotta kind of drop the Coyoteman thing now until the end of the trial. If you're cops, turn off the show. I can't do Coyoteman until I get acquitted. So, be chill, Serge. Be chill about it. As far as tips for working at a hardware store, know your stuff. I can't tell you how many times we got a new tool shipment in, and I didn't do the research, and somebody comes in and they say, "Excuse me, do you work here?" And I say, "Of course, look at me." And then I'm like, "What do you need?" And they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you know how to use this tool?" And I look at it, of course, quizzically. And sometimes I didn't know. And so that's the thing. The big note for you, Serge. Do your research. YouTube exists. It's got a video on how to use literally everything. Tools, different books on how to do everything. You can get anything you need on YouTube, and it's all facts. Nothing on there is bad. Follow down whatever rabbit hole you want, and you won't end up in a bad place. That's just the way that the internet works. And hey, yeah, you might end up with a pizza boss, which I still have somewhere. If you don't know about the pizza boss, folks, I'm not going to catch you up. That's the way the show works now. We do not recap. Months ago. Go back, watch the catalog on YouTube. You'll find the episode about the pizza boss. It's great. One of the best arcs in the history of How You Been. But folks, that's enough of just me, huh? I think it's about time for me to jump off to break and get my old babysitter Krystal on the line. So you all just sit tight here while I get her on the line, and I'll be back oh so quickly, and we will see how Krystal's been. BRB. Okay, folks, thank you for not bolting when the break happened. So many times I'm watching a TV show and it cuts to commercial and I'm like, I don't care about this stuff. And then I changed the channel. Glad you guys didn't. Appreciate it. But folks, like I said, very, very incredibly excited for my guest today. Because I'm telling you, Brett the Mott wouldn't be the man that Brett the Mott is today without this person, and I'm very excited for you all to meet her. Without further ado, my old babysitter, Krystal Lassen. Krystal, how you been?
Oh, Brett, wow, it's so great to see you.
It's so great to see you too. I honestly, I talked you up a little bit. I hope you don't mind. I talked you up. I let people know how much you meant to me and Christine I talk mostly about me. Didn't talk about Christine that much.
Sure.
But it's so nice to see you in the flesh. I know it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
It really has. I just let me get a clean answer to the thesis of the show. Krystal Lassen, how you been?
Oh, Brett, I mean, I've just been life is a journey and I'm on it. Does that answer your question? I think it should.
Yeah, it sure does, Krystal. And I'll tell you what, nothing makes more sense than that being what you said. Because I didn't want to give it away too much. Because it was such a crazy thing that happened. But folks, Krystal used to babysit me and my sister when we were younger. Yeah. And Krystal's only a year or so older than me. Looks far younger than me. Honestly, you're looking great for your age.
Thank you so much.
Krystal's whole thing was every day when she would come and babysit me and Christine, it was a new adventure. And sometimes those adventures didn't necessarily keep us in the house, if you know what I mean.
If you know what I mean. Yeah. You guys were great kids. I have to say, you guys were a lot of fun. I found you, well, Christine mostly, but you guys were both open-minded. In Christine, it was more like coming from a place of like bravery. And for you, it felt more like coming from fear. Can I say that? Can I say it felt like you were very afraid of being made fun of for not going along. And you guys, you and Christine, you are 20 years apart. Is that right?
I believe so. I'm pretty sure. At this age, when they say age is just a number, it's specifically talking about on this show. Age doesn't matter.
Right. It does not matter.
It doesn't matter anymore. Who cares?
I was with you for a long time because I started babysitting you in middle school. And then when Christine was born, I started babysitting her, and you were around. You were around. You'd come with us. Yeah,
because you get comfortable in certain sort of patterns, and that's the thing for me. It's always been the kind of thing. I've been a rut guy. A lot of people say they say, "Oh, I'm in a rut," as if it's a bad thing, but for me, a rut is the sweet spot. All I'm looking for is getting into a rut. You know what I mean? And so...
No, I don't, because I couldn't relate to you less.
I know.
I think that's wonderful. Know thyself. Am I right, Brett?
I was going to say...
Know thyself, and it sounds like you do.
I mean, listen. I like to think I have a pretty firm grasp on who Brett the Mod is, but I'll tell you this. Week to week, I change on a whim. I'm not as consistent as I would like to be. Because what I would love is for me to be exactly on a straight and narrow all the time, never have any issues, never do anything that is scary or challenging. Path of least resistance, more like path of me be on it. I want to be on that path. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it's so crazy because it's like so many shades of who you were as a child, you know, and you were younger, you were like 12, and I was like 14, really coming into my womanhood, and you used to have like, so when you're talking about like the rut thing, you used to be so particular about all of your baseball gloves. You put little faces on them. Do you remember those?
I did. I drew faces on all my baseball gloves because I wanted, when I'm wearing, because the different baseball gloves are for different kinds of baseball players. And I would draw the face of the guy who I thought would wear that glove. So if it was a first baseman, I'd draw a guy with a face that looks like it has long legs attached to it so that he can stretch. A lot of people are like, what does the guy's face who has long legs look like? And I say, go look at the mitt. Or the center fielder would be a slender guy who's obviously really fast. It's all that. But that's not interesting. That's not that stuff.
Artistic.
Well, thank you.
No, that's so artistic, and you always have been artistic. You've always had an artistic finger. Can I say that?
Hey, I literally just said that. I got an artistic finger.
Did you?
Yes. I
You
told
really
you.
do.
I thank you so much. I never knew that anybody knew that about me because I never really outwardly expressed it. But now I've been doing this thing.
You did.
You think?
Go ahead. Tell me about the thing.
I do
think, yeah, with the baseball mitts, you would spend hours coloring them. And I remember your mom, who was so tall, she would say, Brett, you have to do your homework. And you would say, no, Mom, I have to keep on doing this. And one time I accidentally kicked one over and you started crying for a long time.
Yeah.
A really long time.
I developed attachments to those things. They were like my stuffed animals. A lot of kids, they got their little teddy bears or their little monkey toys. I had my baseball gloves. They all had different voices, different personalities. And you kicked one over and it hurt me because I was young, 14, 15. That's young. That's young when that happens.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But again, I didn't do that on purpose, Brett, right? Because at the time it felt like you didn't quite believe me.
No, well, at the time emotions were high.
I remember because my boyfriend was over. Do you remember Tommy Johnson?
I do remember Tommy Johnson. Tommy Johnson, this guy. I'm gonna tell you guys. I ain't scared to say it. This guy was a hunk. We all know it. He had how some people can wear a Letterman jacket and it fits right and it looks good and it doesn't bulge in weird places and it's just it's meant to be on that kind of guy's body. This guy looked like a stereotype of a high school athlete. And did he make a guy like me a little jealous? Of course he did. Of course he did.
Yeah, deeply so. It was fascinating to see it work itself through your young psyche, because I remember I accidentally kicked the baseball glove over and Tommy was over, and then you were crying for so long in front of Tommy, and that seemed to make you really angry, the fact that you were crying in front of Tommy.
Well, because
he would just come in from football practice and he was kind of glistening, just the peak of young masculine virility,
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Listen, this country, the culture I specifically was raised in, has a big problem with male emotion.
Yeah.
We know, and as I've gotten older, I've gotten better about expressing it.
Good for you.
I mean, I say the words. I wouldn't call myself. I say that makes me mad, or oh, that makes me sad, or do I, let myself feel stuff? You'll have to talk to my therapist, Dudley St. Salmon, about that. He would probably say no. But I think I've gotten at least better in my age.
That's all we can do is just get better.
Exactly.
I mean, it's all we can do is just keep on improving. When you were talking about how you're not consistent, I say, good on you. I say more.
What? I mean, I appreciate that, Krystal. Mm-hmm. And I know growing up, the thing that I used to always think was so cool, it felt like when I was saying before, every time you came over, it was like a different adventure. You ever, I don't know if anybody who's watching has ever seen that movie, Adventures in Babysitting. You ever seen that movie?
No.
Where it's a great movie about this woman who's babysitting some kids, and they go on this crazy adventure where they're out and they get I can't remember the specifics, but it's basically a scary situation happens, and it's who is it? Is Elizabeth Shue might be the lead in it, or it might be it's Elizabeth Shue is the lead in it. And she's a babysitter, and she's babysitting these kids, and then there's this scene where they're attacked by scary people and stuff.
Was she in Halloween Town?
The Disney Channel movie?
Yeah.
She very well could have been. For a guy who's 50-something years old, I've watched Halloween Town a remarkable number of times. Every time it's on in the Disney Channel, I'll put it on. It's easy. It's like popcorn. It's easy to take in. You know?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about some scary adventures. Do you remember the time that I had to go pick up my aunt in like 3 towns over, and I strapped you into the back seat? Tommy was riding shotgun, and you had to go to bed. You were like, it's bedtime. And I was like, listen, my aunt just busted out of rehab. Like, you're too young to understand this. You're only 16 and I'm 18, but we gotta go.
Yeah.
And so there we are. We're flying down the highway. Do you remember this?
I do remember this. And at this point, I remember specifically this event, saying to my parents as they were leaving the house, I don't think I need a babysitter anymore. I have my own driver's license. I think I can, if an emergency happens, I know the number. And I know how to get to the hospital on my own. I've walked that before, and I could get there. And they said, no. This is we don't trust you, which it hasn't changed. Yeah, they were adamant that I still had a babysitter even when I was 16 years old. And your aunt busts out of rehab, and it's 11:30. It's 11:30, and I'm sitting there being like, I can't go on this whole night. Who knows how long we're going to be out there?
Right.
And so I'm like,
but your parents were so protective. I couldn't leave you.
I know.
couldn't leave you sleeping a 16-year-old alone in the house. It was
I know.
my job on the line.
And I remember the thing that I pitched to you, which in hindsight feels so silly. I said, let's do a Ferris Bueller, but where instead of it's me in the bed with the mannequin, it's you. It's you sitting on the couch. Right. With a mannequin and a little guy, another guy sitting next to you that's a pillow person or something, and we just put the TV on. My parents wouldn't question it, but what ended up happening is I said the only way that I'm going to do this is if you put down the back seats in your car and I put my mattress in there and you let me go to real bed in the back of your car.
I did. You know, with kids or teenagers, as it were, you have to pick your battles. And being a teenager myself, I really understood that better than anyone.
In fact, I heard later that you had done this to your parents before.
That I had made them let me put my mattress in the trunk of their car before. Yes,
I heard that you forced your parents to let you do real bed in the car.
Well, yeah, I did. Yeah. You know, I did. They let me kind of stretch my legs, and I wasn't really hemmed in by a lot of, you know, kind of conventional childhood things, which is why it was such a trip meeting you, because you were kind of big into convention.
Well,
you know, and you wanted to go to bed, and you had to have real bed in the car. You know, and so then we were flying down the freeway.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we get pulled over.
Yeah.
We get pulled over by a cop.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, let's all stay calm. And Tommy was like, this is gonna be fine. And you were just sobbing.
Well,
you were crying so hard, so fast.
I was terrified because you're sitting there thinking, oh, I was going fast. This is probably gonna be a speeding ticket. I'm sitting there saying, I got my feet hanging out the trunk of this car going 80 miles an hour. This cop's gonna blame it on me. And I thought I was going to go to jail or something, okay? And it was scary. As a 16-year-old kid.
Firm grasp on the law.
No, what 16-year-old does? I've never met a 16-year-old who could recite a law.
You know. Right. Well, yeah. You know, you have to know. The one thing you have to know when you're 16 is, I can't speak without a legal guardian present. That's all you have to know when you're 16.
Yeah,
right?
And which you did, which I thought it was weird how long this traffic stop took because you were so uncooperative, knowing that we needed to get to find your aunt.
I had to get to my aunt. We had to get to her. But here's the thing. I was thinking at that time, I was like, my Aunt Denise would never forgive me if I let this cop just write me this ticket. She would want me, if she were here right now, instead of trying to scale the walls of an apartment complex across the street from the rehab center, she would want me to put up a fight to this cop, you know? And so I did.
Yeah, you did.
But you made it difficult. You were crying so hard, Brett.
You know, can I say something here? It's unfair to me that it feels like you're saying that me crying was a problem. And I just want to say, a lot of times people are like, guys, let it out. Let it out. And then what I'm hearing, the dissonance in my brain is you're like, you should let yourself feel stuff, but also don't you dare cause trouble with your crying, is what I'm hearing.
Oh, no. What I'm saying is, Brett, you have always, from the jump, had an absolute source of sensitivity and artistic intuition. It's always been in you. It's been raging since the beginning of your life and since I've always known you. And it's powerful. So it's interesting to hear you say that, you know, you don't think that you feel so much now, because when you were younger, it's like we couldn't get you to turn it off, you know.
I feel like that's every like kids are little faucets that once you turn it on,
so true.
you can't turn it off no more. So the second that a little kid starts to be sad, it's over. It's freaking over.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's weird how I'm on like it feels like I'm on like the last few weeks are like a trip down memory lane in like the scariest way possible, where I'm just being sort of I'm being sort of dragged through my past in ways that are shocking and maybe I wasn't as connected to previously. And I'm worried.
You're having a Christmas carol. You're experiencing a Christmas carol.
I feel like, in a weird way, you're not wrong, Krystal. I'm the Scrooge in my own Christmas carol. Where in the last few weeks, I'm just being confronted with the lives I used to live.
Yeah.
And listen.
So you might have a long way to go because you haven't even gotten to present or future.
Yeah, I've been visited by 3 different ghosts from Christmas past. When's the Christmas present gonna happen? And if Christmas future, that's freaking terrifying. Who knows? The future's scary.
Why does that scare you? Why does that scare you so much?
Because the unknown of it all. The past is fine because it's happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I ain't scared of that.
You're saying the past is very upsetting to you.
Yeah.
Which is it?
It's all of it. It's chaos in my brain. And like I said, okay, you're being way too casual about my freak out here. Okay? It's
No.
I'm having a moment here, and it's making me feel a little crazy. Okay? Because it is. I'm thinking about the past.
And Brett, I'm here with you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you saying that. I'm just having a little bit of a moment, you know? Because you ever have that feeling that you're like, you really sit in the moment and you're like, well, things ain't great right now. And then you think back a month and you're like, well, things weren't that great then either. And then you think back 6 months and you're like, well, what was going on 6 months ago? Things weren't that good then either. And then you go back a year.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, uh-oh. And then you sit there and you try to think, when was the last time that you even felt a little bit good? When was the last good day? That, like, real good, you know? Because I've had good days, you know. But when was the last time something really good happened? And I'm sitting here thinking, it might have been Back when I was a kid. Like, it might have been, you know what it might have been? It might have been that time that you taught me how to do a round off. Because you were a gymnast.
Absolutely.
You were a gymnast.
I was, yes.
When you were younger.
I was a gymnast. And so the round off, I was a gymnast when I was younger. The round off that's not a part of gymnastics, of course.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry. I'm thinking, no. Yes, it is. I was thinking of when I taught you how to do a roundhouse kick.
Right. That was when you were doing, that was when you were doing karate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
You did a lot of extracurriculars.
Yeah. A ton. I was very physical with my body. I've always been very physical with my body.
Yeah.
So do you think the last time that you experienced true, unbridled, pure joy and happiness was when I taught you how to do a round off when you were 13 years old?
Yeah. I remember. Maybe. This is sad, folks. The most joy that I've ever felt in my entire life might have been when I was like, 9? And we were in the backyard of the house. You were sitting on the back steps, shouting directions, saying, no, your feet have to hit the ground at the same time on the end for it to be a round off. Otherwise, it's a cartwheel.
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, I couldn't get it. I kept landing one foot at a time. Mm-hmm. And then finally, when I hit the 2 feet, the whoop, 2 feet, same time. And I remember you stood up and you clapped for me. And I think that might be the most joyful day of my life. And that includes the day that I got married to my ex-wife. Because in retrospect, our wedding day only led to our divorce. So, the wedding day weren't too good then.
Hold on, Brett. Okay, I hear what you're saying. And what you're doing is corrupting your memories with events that came afterwards. You know, you get married to BB, and then you divorce BB, but the day that you married her, that was a lovely day. Can I tell you something? When you learn to do a round off, have you kept on doing them? No.
Nah.
Can I venture a guess?
Nah, no. I think the last time I did it was maybe a week later after I learned it.
Which was, it was great. I remember that. Second one was great. You did knock a Coke bottle out of my hand.
Yeah,
but
sorry about that.
You had perfect form.
Thank you.
It's no problem. It hit Tommy right in the eye. Do you remember that? Then I had to race us full speed ahead to the emergency room, and we did get the ticket that time. But so why haven't you corrupted the round-off memory with the fact that you stopped doing them soon afterwards? You're having selective memory corruption. And Brett, it's not serving you. It's not serving you.
I mean, when you say it that way, and listen, we try to keep it light on this show. We don't try to get dark or anything. But I guess in reality, sometimes you gotta get real, folks. I guess in reality, the reason that I'm not corrupting that memory is because there ain't no negative associations with it afterwards. Aside from kicking over the Coke, that didn't affect me.
No, just Tommy.
Yeah.
He told me he was never quite able to see the same way again. I saw him at the high school reunion. He said he's 2014.
That's so specific.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Wait, he's 2014. That's not that bad. That's like still pretty great vision. I think. I don't know how the numbers work.
He used to be 2020, so I guess.
So I guess it is different. Yeah. But I guess the reality is, I never did a round off and then hurt myself. You know, if I had ever done a round off onto a board with nails sticking out of it, then I'd probably be like, well, learning how to do the round off led to me getting tetanus or whatever. So because I ain't
That's
never
good. See, your imagination, Brad. You have that's that artistic finger again. It's a dire imagination, but it's a working one.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? I don't have the negative association.
Yeah.
But I have all the other stuff. I got I bought the hardware store, which led to the hardware store going out of business, me filing for bankruptcy, having to sell it to a guy, and then that guy hiring me back as a shift manager and eventually cutting me out of the schedule.
Right.
You know, it's tough. It sucks. It freaking sucks.
It's about the journey. You know, I said at the top, life is a journey. What about all of the wonderful people that you met in the hardware store? You know, what about the humility that you found having your business bought out from underneath you and having to return tail between your legs as a meager employee? What about all of those peaks and valleys? You know, it's because life it's all of it. Can I say it's all of it, you know?
Right.
If we were just up all the time, you know, when you were saying about us, you know, yesterday, was it any better? A month ago, was it any better? 6 months ago? You know, when I was running through a thought exercise when you were doing that, and it was like, you know, yesterday I was a healer in Santa Barbara. A month prior, I was a healer in Santa Barbara. A year prior, I was a healer in Tucson. So it's peaks and valleys, you know?
Hang on a second. That feels remarkably consistent. Because Santa Barbara and Tucson, remarkably similar climates. Tucson maybe a little bit drier, a little bit hotter. But they're basically the same, except one's got beach, one don't.
Yeah. Have you been to either?
Yes! Both!
Oh,
I've been to both of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
the way that you were speaking about it, no offense, but I thought the way Brett's speaking about them right now, he's never been to either of these places.
No!
He would know. He would know how different they are from one another.
I did a hardware festival in Tucson.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did the Tucson Hardware Festival a couple years ago with a couple of my good buddies. And
Did
then
they get crazy?
We got wild.
Did they get crazy? I thought
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
It was nuts. And then I've been to Santa Barbara a couple times. I went to a wedding one time in Santa Barbara. And then another time I went through there and I got a cup of coffee at a place called Mud. So I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, you've
Come
been
on.
there. You've been there. Yeah. So that was your experience. So that was your experience was a similar climate, and to you that's all the same thing, which kind of sounds like it's like, you know, with your memories, it's like if it resulted in something bad, it's all bad, you know, unifying.
That's my whole thing. We just stumbled upon my whole thing, Krystal. My whole thing as a person is that if it led to something bad, then even the good parts of it are bad. So like, I'm one of those people. I'm a movie guy. Okay? People who watch the show, they know I'm a movie guy. I'm one of those guys.
You don't have to tell me, because you always have been, and the number of times that you made me watch what was that?
Amadeus.
What? Oh, Amadeus and Remains of the Day. You
My
love
two favorite
Amadeus
movies.
and Remains of the Day. You were crazy.
I love both of those movies so much. I love them both. They're my favorite movies. Don't ask me details about either one. I could probably name some from Amadeus if you really wanted details, but I don't think you need. Yeah. But I forgot even what I was saying. Oh, I'm one of these. I'm a movie guy. Yeah, and my whole sort of thing kind of comes into play in the movie situation where I could be enjoying the hell out of a movie. Performances are great. The visuals are good. The ending happens. If the ending sucks, the movie sucks. Even if I'm having a blast watching the whole thing. Is anybody else like that? That feels like a pretty common thing. Maybe that ain't a symptom of the same thing, but.
Well, I think it's similar. I think that, you know, I have experienced feelings of wanting to rewatch a movie and just really liking the beginning part. That's the fun part. That's where all the action is. You know?
Yeah.
But then, you know, you miss the message.
You've watched.
And even if it's a lesson.
Oh, continue your thought. Yeah.
No, that's all. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, you watch the first scene of each storyline from Love Actually all the time, right?
All the time.
You just want to see him set it up.
I actually only finished that film all the way through once. And so it's been so many years because I saw it in theaters one time. Since then, I just watched the beginning. And so I don't know what happens. I don't know if Colin Firth ever gets out of his crippling depression. I don't know if Hugh Grant ever shirks the confines of our Western culture's rejection of larger bodies. All of these things, I don't know. I don't know about that. So
but you did see the movie one time. You just forgot him.
One time.
You saw the whole movie.
It's pretty drunk when I saw it. So.
Okay. You started to sound like your Aunt Denise.
It is a dangerous joke to make because of how alcoholism runs in.
No, hey, I know. I feel bad for making it immediately. I don't want to make light of. I don't want to make light of alcoholism.
You were saying no, and I thought maybe you had new science.
No. Same science. That science is all real.
Same science?
Yeah. Alcoholism is a disease. We don't need to make fun of people who have addiction issues. It's not funny. It's not funny, and I'm sorry for making a joke.
No, but you know what is really funny is that when I was 3 sheets to the wind watching Love Actually in the theater, I stood up and I said, "Hey, who wants some Mike and Ike's?" And I tossed my Mike and Ike's into the air, and people were so pissed, except for one guy who caught a bunch in his open palm. We dated for like 2 weeks after that.
Wow. You dated a guy just because he caught your Mike and Ike's and wasn't weirded out by you throwing them around the theater during Love Actually.
Yeah, it was really, we connected, that acceptance. He really accepted me in my various states,
Yeah, for 2 weeks anyway.
Yeah, I guess for 2 weeks, for 2 weeks. But see, that's the thing, Brett.
Yeah.
I don't discount that beautiful 2-week relationship for what it was. He stole my credit card. I don't hold that over the experience because there were some wonderful moments in there.
Yeah,
there were
okay.
Some wonderful moments.
I'll say
True human connection.
Yeah, I was gonna say the second I called it out, I realized that it was exactly, there wasn't anything wrong. I called it out and I was like, no, it makes sense that you would do that and be okay with 2 weeks, and not you wouldn't call it bad just because this guy stole your identity. Which did you ever confirm that it was a full stolen identity or just a stolen credit card?
It was difficult for years after that. My bank said, well, did you make this purchase at Payless Shoe Source? And I said, which one? And they said, there's one for $63.70. And I said, that was me. And they said, there's one for $84.90. And I said, that wasn't me. And they said, we can't believe you because you're shopping at all of these same places that this man is allegedly using your card at.
That's honestly,
I wasn't quite sure that I wasn't responsible for the unknown charges
as
well. So.
I'll say this though. You heard it here first, folks. If you ever want to steal somebody's credit card, just do a little research about him and make slightly larger purchases at the same store as them, and the credit card companies will be like, I don't know, lady. It feels like you're trying to dupe us. When really, there's a guy going into the store after you every time and getting something that's slightly more expensive than the thing that you just bought.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty smart, and that's why I only have fond memories of him and his creative intellect.
Well, I'll be honest, Krystal. I admire your ability to wear the rose-colored glasses all the time and look at life as a journey and appreciate the valleys as much as you appreciate the peaks. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like I've had a little bit of an epiphany today. I feel like I learned a thing or two about myself from talking to you that I never was really able to articulate before. And I do weirdly feel like this podcast is becoming very good for me. It's forcing me to confront the realities of who I am while talking to these people from my past. And listen,
it's remarkable, because how long have you been doing this show?
I've been doing this show on Twitch for like a few months, like 8 months maybe. But I've been doing this show for 27 years.
That's what's remarkable.
Yeah.
That only now is it becoming a good thing
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. It's crazy. Because it used to just be so superficial, so flivorous.
Surface level.
Flivorous? Wait, what's the word? Frivolous.
Yeah. We got it. We understood what you meant.
But in that, it feels like my guests, as of late, have been really bringing in some emotional truth that we've discovered, and it's changing who Brett DeMott is, folks.
Ugh.
Will Brett DeMott have a personal epiphany? Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Isn't that exciting?
It is exciting. It's really exciting, and I don't think I would have gotten there without talking to you today, Krystal. So I appreciate
Brett.
you being here.
Thank you so much.
It's been such a delight talking to you. I'm going to let you go here in a minute.
Wonderful.
Thank
you so much.
I hope this ain't the last time we talk. That sounded like weirdly cryptic or whatever, but I hope we can continue to reconnect and keep it going.
I talk to Christine all the time, so
no kidding.
Yeah, I talk to Christine constantly. Yeah,
I ain't talked to her since she was on a show. She's been avoiding me.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
If you talk to her soon, tell her to call me so that we can reconcile.
I can't be a go-between. She
fair.
says she needs some space.
Yeah, that's fair.
But listen, Brett, I'm so proud of you. I mean, you are both the same little boy that you once were, crying all the time, and now you are a wonderful grown man who is artistic and sensitive and maybe crying on the inside. And I love both of those individuals.
Well, Krystal, I appreciate that. I appreciate you you seeing me like that. And I appreciate you acknowledging the artistic finger, because I wasn't sure if it was real, but if you saw it, then I believe it. But Krystal, thank you so much for being here today. I really do appreciate it.
Wishing you wellness.
I hope to feel good eternally, and I will keep you posted on how things go. So we'll know real soon whether or not this was a real moment that I had, or if it will just sort of wither and fade as all other epiphanies in the history of Brett DeMott have.
Peaks and valleys.
Well, I appreciate it.
High
Krystal,
vibrations.
thank you so much for being here, Krystal. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you real soon, all right?
Bye-bye.
All right. Take it easy, Krystal. Oh, folks! My old babysitter, who, if you didn't know better, looks half my age. Or, not half, 2/3 of my age. But it was great chatting with her today. You know, I don't like for this show to be about me, folks. This show is supposed to be about my guests. And I feel like we've turned the mirror around on Brett DeMott a little bit the last couple weeks, which ain't a bad thing. But it ain't what this show's supposed to be. So next week, we're taking the spotlight away from me, damn it. It ain't about me no more. But thank you all so much for being here, as always. Had a couple donations already, a couple gifted subs from T-Mac, some resubs from Nathan, some bits from Nerdy Batman, Big Squiggles with the resub, Ernest with the resub, Bob with some gifted subs, some bits from Bree, Brissy Joe with the resub as well, April with the resub. Holy smokes, folks. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, if you want to show up to the courtroom and do a courtroom sketch, please do that and send it to the email at the bottom of the screen right now, howyoubeenshow@gmail.com. I'll show them all on the show next week, and we can show people what goes on. it should be great. Next week's show, it's looking like it's going to be on Wednesday night next week, folks. Because my producer, John, apparently has a late night on Tuesday and said he doesn't know if he's going to be able to connect me to the channel by the normal time. So next week, the show's going to be on Wednesday. Same time, though, 7 p.m. My producer will post that on the internet so people can see it. But folks, thank y'all so much for being here. As always, I really appreciate it. If you could, throw a donation into the jar. ! Donate in the chat. We'll bring a link up that you can donate. That money will go straight to paying my guest, Krystal Lassen, today as a belated thank you for all that she did for me as a kid and for this epiphany that she may have inspired. But thank you all so much for being here. As always, I have seen people saying happy birthday to my producer John. I'll let him know that y'all said that. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. But yeah, folks, be here next week, Wednesday next week for a new episode. I'll let you know who the guest is if you watch his social medias. But yeah, folks, thank you so much for being here. Again, if you could throw a buck in the donation pit, that'd be great. It's a pit now. I turned it into a pit. If not, just be here next week for another episode. And until then, Brett out.